You're 26. The duplex costs $178,000. You don't have $178,000. You have $19,000 saved, a credit score you've protected like a small animal, and an FHA loan that lets you put down 3.5%. You move into one unit, rent out the other. This is the whole strategy at the start. Live in half the risk, let a stranger pay down the other half. The tenant's name is Owens. He pays $1,050 a month. Your mortgage, taxes, and insurance combined run $1,380. You cover the gap out of your paycheck month after month, and you tell yourself this is normal. This is how it works, even though some months the gap feels wider than your patience. Nobody claps for this. Nobody notices a 26-year-old living in half a duplex with a leaking bathroom faucet he fixes himself on a Saturday. YouTube tutorial playing on a phone propped against the sink. Year 3. Owens moves out. You raise the rent to $1,200 for the new tenant, a nurse named Delilah, who pays on time. Every time. Like clockwork, you didn't know you were allowed to rely on. The duplex breaks even now. Not profitable? Even. You call that a win, quietly, to nobody because nobody else would understand why breaking even feels like an accomplishment. You still drive the same car from college, still pack lunch. The money you're not spending on rent, since you live in half the building for free now, goes into a separate account you don't touch. You don't know yet what it's for. You just know spending it feels wrong. Year 5. You buy a second property, a single family rental this time, 3 bedrooms, $210,000 in a part of town your coworkers wouldn't choose to live in, but would absolutely rent in because the schools are fine and the commute is short and the price is right. You use the down payment savings you built from 3 years of not touching that separate account. You also use something else now, equity. The duplex has appreciated. The bank looks at that appreciation and treats it like collateral, like proof, like a reference letter written entirely in numbers. This is the part nobody explains well. How the first property doesn't just make you money, it makes you credible. It becomes the reason the next loan gets approved. Year 7, you move out of the duplex into a small house of your own, modest, unremarkable, and you rent out your old unit too. Now both halves of the duplex generate income, plus the single family. 3 rent checks a month, minus 3 mortgages, minus repairs that always seem to land in the same week somehow. A water heater here, a roof patch there. You still work your day job. You tell people, when they ask, that you have a couple of rental properties, said the way you'd mention a hobby, because the truth that you're quietly building something with a shape you can't fully see yet takes longer to explain than anyone at a barbecue wants to listen to. Year 18, you form an LLC to hold everything, finally. After an accountant tells you flatly that you've been exposing your personal assets to lawsuits for a decade without noticing. You feel foolish for a week. Then you feel like an adult for the first time in this whole process, like you've finally caught up to the size of what you built. 10 properties total now, some small, some larger, spread across 3 towns you know intimately, which blocks flood, which landlords cut corners, which streets quiet down for the best tenants, and which never do. Your brother asks, at Thanksgiving, half joking, if you're secretly a landlord tycoon. You laugh it off. Just some rentals, you say, the same flat, undersized sentence you've been giving people for a decade, because the real answer takes an hour, and nobody at a dinner table wants the hour. Year 22, combined portfolio value crosses $6 million. Combined debt, still substantial, sits against it like a shadow that never fully disappears, even as the equity grows. Net worth from real estate alone, just over $2.4 million. It happens on a spreadsheet, on a Sunday, the way most of this has happened. No confetti, no headline, just a number recalculated after a round of refinances and a market that finally caught up to what you'd been quietly building all along. You still drive a normal car. Nicer now, but normal. You still answer your own maintenance calls sometimes, just to remember what the ground floor felt like. Because some part of you suspects that forgetting it is the actual risk now, more than any bad tenant or burst pipe ever was. Year 26, you buy the property that started it all, the duplex, and you don't. It's still yours. You never sold it. Delilah moved out years ago. The current tenant is a young couple, 26 years old, the same age you were when you first stood in that leaking bathroom with a wrench and a phone propped against the sink. You drive past it sometimes. You don't tell anyone when you do. You just sit outside for a minute, engine off, looking at a building that taught you the whole shape of everything that came after it. That the first check is always the hardest. That the gap between rent and mortgage closes slower than you want and faster than you expect. That nobody claps for any of it while it's happening. You think about Owen sometimes, the first tenant. Wonder if he has any idea what his $1,050 a month became. An apartment building, a portfolio, a decade turned into 26 years without announcing itself once along the way. You don't call him to tell him. Some things don't need saying to be true. You start the car and drive home, past a street you know better than your own hands, past a version of yourself still visible if you squint. 26, unproven, standing in half a duplex, betting on a stranger named Owens and a faucet he'd never once thought to fix himself.